Greetings Brawl Stars community, and welcome to another Brawl Theory video. I hope you're ready for some of the most insane and out of this world theories you have ever heard. Before we begin, make sure that you are subscribed with notifications on so that you never miss out on future Brawl Theory videos like this. If you are a little unaware of some of the most recent lore developments, make sure to check out these two Brawl Theory videos to help refresh your minds on certain key aspects of the Starr Park investor video, as well as to stay up to date on the most recent lore developments. With all that out of the way, let's begin with where we left off last time. We discussed the symbolism and backstory lore of one of the newest brawlers, Gus, how he was lured in by Starr Park, forced to inhale the toxic gases that were released into the air, and is clearly seen tied to a set of balloons, which I theorized were filled with that toxic gas. That's if we were to be certain that this child is Gus. I think we can all at least agree that they share many similar qualities, which I don't think is a coincidence at all, but rather intentional. I think we can take this theory a step further by actually looking more in depth at the child and some of his physical characteristics. At first, I thought the child was the human form of Gus that was kidnapped and killed. However, upon further inspection, it is clear that this is not a deceased human child at all. What was once a child holding a set of balloons turns out to actually be a child made out of some sort of plastic or pliable material. A human child undergone certain genetic experimentation to change the way he looks and acts. An important detail worth noting is the fact that he is still a living human being. Well, not actually. I'm certain that the child is not dead, rather I believe he is actually instead frozen in time. Let me be more specific. Throughout the investor video, there are numerous hints to toys, plastic figurines, and sculptures. These plastic figurines come to life, move, and operate at their own will. However, there are times when they don't, where they are quote-unquote frozen in time, waiting for an individual or otherworldly power to release them. This is evident toward the very beginning of the investor video. A handful of the individuals dancing and singing toward the very beginning seem to be controlled with a bodily on and off switch, as if someone is watching, controlling, and monitoring their every move from the sidelines. For a while, the community believed that Starr Park or Starr Corporation was a group of individuals trying to capture and hold humans against their will to quote-unquote do their bidding. However, I don't think that is the case at all. I've had a very strong suspicion that there is no such thing as Starr Park. Obviously, we know that in real life there is no such thing as Starr Park, but even when it comes to Brawl Stars and the lore, I think it's all just one big conspiracy. Firstly, as the investor video begins, we are shown what looks to be an amusement park, with rides, attractions, and entertainment. However, with closer examination, we were able to discover that it's actually not a park at all, but rather just a large plastic figurine diorama, with an artificial background and with the whole set almost looking like it was made for children. It's very similar to an exhibit you might find at a toy store, for instance. Now, let's look even deeper. What do you see? Little plastic people. When the camera pans out, you can clearly see that those miniature figurines are actually the entertainers from the beginning and the end of the investor video. However, now they look alive and in full consciousness. How could that be? I think this further proves the theory that they are programmed, controlled, and unfortunately incapable of self-preservation. With the flick of a switch, they are ready to advocate for this so-called Starr Park, which I don't even believe is a place. I think this is the same situation with Gus. He is a human being frozen in time until he is needed, most likely for promotional ads to attract more children to Starr Park and continue these deranged experiments. Right as the singers and dancers finish their act, you can see them instantaneously turn to plastic, incapable of moving or speaking. This occurs right before the host of the investor video appears on screen. I think this was almost intentional, as if they are no longer needed and therefore can be put on pause for the time being. Let's continue to closely examine the investor video to discover some more hidden clues. What once appeared to be an extremely large amusement park filled with tons of people and exhibits emerges as just a small child's playset. What's even more shocking is the fact that by the end of the investor video, we see the background of Starr Park, which turns out to be two large images attached to a wall or screen, covering up what Starr Park truly is, nothing but a big hoax. A scam, a huge deception. Certain individuals use Starr Park as a scapegoat to develop world-threatening technology and commit extreme acts against humanity. They did so to cover up something even more sinister, something that no one has even theorized yet. Furthermore, when the camera pans out, you can clearly see that whatever Starr Park once was, is no longer. It's now just an abandoned amusement park with little to no green life, and it seems that the images of the blue sky and the clouds are just a clever ruse proposed by electronically generated backgrounds that some of the workers must have developed. This begs the question, why and how? To understand the meaning behind this, we need to look at all the evidence presented. There are numerous instances within the investor video that hint toward it all being a hoax, a fake video edited together by one of the individuals working at Starr Park. For starters, the video continuously glitches out, and certain individuals try their best to warn us of what happened, what is already happening, and what is to come. This takes me to my second theory, which is that Starr Park has a huge hidden meaning and motive. Its true purpose being to control and eventually annihilate the human race. Starr Park is not even a real place, nor are many of the individuals even real. Some people present within the investor video aren't even real humans. Instead, I believe some of the Starr Park associates are extraterrestrial beings planning to invade and reign over our world and the world of Brawl. The Starr Park investor video was a ploy to get our attention, to open our eyes and alert us to pay close attention to the video's hidden meaning. They knew what they were doing and how they were doing it. Do you think it's a coincidence that these creepy, unexplainable phenomena continue to occur throughout the video with no viable explanation? That is why I believe this is all a sign, or more like a warning. Some of the individuals operating Starr Park have the power and ability to alter human perception and reality, make them act a certain way, look a certain way, and evidently feel a certain way. This takes me back to one of the first Brawl Stars lore developments ever, WKBRL, which individuals discovered using Morse code back in the Season 1 environment. For years, everyone believed that it stood for Weak Brawl. Why did we believe that? What could Weak Brawl even mean? Unfortunately, it was left unsolved and many gave up on that theory. However, I believe we just didn't think hard enough to determine its true meaning. I don't think it's Weak Brawl as in 7 days of Brawl, but rather weak. W-E-A-K, someone without strength and or motivation. But even if that were true, what could this possibly mean? I think it's referring to someone without strength, self-control, or power. Someone within someone else's control and evidently within someone else's mercy. I will come back to this point in a moment. Secondly, we need to determine the meaning of BRL. I don't believe that BRL stands for Brawl, since that's way too simple and frankly predictable. WKBRL seems too obvious to be Weak Brawl. Starr Park and whoever founded and is operating this company seems to have the skills and abilities to predict the future, alter human perception, and commit acts of immeasurable scales. That is why I believe BRL stands for something way bigger, something way more meaningful, something significant to Starr Park and their actions, something like a biomedical research laboratory. WKBRL, Weak Biomedical Research Laboratory, the scientific investigation required to understand the underlying life processes which affect disease and human well-being, resulting in such humans losing the ability to think and act for themselves, being in the control of another or higher power, one with the skills and mind of achieving something so unbelievably crazy. I believe that this WKBRL and Starr Park is run by a foreign extraterrestrial species that is experimenting with the cellular and molecular aspects of humans, modifying human genetics and DNA so that they can operate and disguise themselves as humans without us questioning or investigating their actions. This investor video is filled with numerous Easter eggs and warnings to leave and get rid of the video. Gail warns you to leave right at the start. The gift shop cashiers sign danger, and the entertainers plead us to help them. I think that when the host of the investor video states that,
"In the future, the children control us.
His message has a double meaning. He's informing us that we, the players, will control them in the future because they made it that way, the alien species. They have full control over them, their minds, and their soul. The aliens are world killers casting their ambitious natures on our planet, risking the fate of humanity. These space inhabitants are slowly adapting, evolving, and expanding their knowledge on Earth and the human race. The host of the investor video warns us about their mental and physical control over humanity. This explains why certain individuals in the investor video seem frozen or dead. It is because the extraterrestrial species has full control over them and what they are capable of doing. I think these aliens have the ability to shapeshift and mutate into human form with the snap of a finger due to their immense knowledge of mutating human DNA. This allows them to be perceived as human while staying hidden from society, blending in, and going unnoticed. For starters, the host of the investor video glitches out when going into the tunnel, and we see their true identity, which is an extraterrestrial being. Shocking and terrifying, I know. This is clearly not a human, but rather an alien that is disguising themselves as human to fool us into a fake investment opportunity. It explains why some of them have trouble communicating or acting normal. We see them stutter at times and cut the video frequently so that we perceive them as normal and acceptable. They are trying to act and come across as human when they clearly are not. I think it's interesting that in Brawl Stars, we recently received an alien brawler, that brawler being Eve. I find it even more interesting that one of Eve's voice lines consists of,
"Mommy needs to find a host."
Maybe thinking that she's referring to a host for her alien children to attach to and poison. However, I believe its secret meaning refers to needing a host in general for another cryptic video like the investor video, for instance. Eve is well aware of the events that transpired on an alternative planet, which is why she's referred to as an alien flea, one who has run away or escaped from a certain danger. She knew that her planet would pose a threat to our civilization, and she needed to flee to protect herself and her children. There isn't one doubt in my mind that we will be receiving more lore developments regarding UFOs and extraterrestrial beings in the near future. You may say that the Biodome update was the alien update and the alien environment. However, you might recall that Eve actually crash-landed in the Biodome, meaning that she was escaping and or analyzing Earth from another interdimensional planet, most likely one inhabited by an extraterrestrial species. It's also worth noting that the UFO Eve occupies can be spotted in the investor video and on the StarrPark.biz website years before we received the Eve update, which means they had this theme planned years in advance and more developments might be coming sometime soon. Another piece of evidence comes in the form of Morse code, which was discovered in the Biodome environment earlier this year. What I find extremely interesting is the fact that it spells out alien DNA. Coincidence?
I think not!
Bernie,
Don't Bernie me! This little rat is guilty!
you and your son can go now, Mrs. Parr. I'm sorry for the trouble.
You're letting him go again? He's guilty! You can see it on his smug little face! Guilty! I say guilty!
Moreover, I think this idea of shape-shifting or mutating extraterrestrial beings can explain why Cairo's Tim looks almost identical to Cairo's Time, sharing some unique and undeniable similarities, causing many to believe it is or was the same person. However, there are a few distinct differences that cause many to question whether or not Cairo's Tim was Cairo's Time. Now that the theory of alien impersonations, experimentation with human DNA, and genetic mutations is viable after numerous pieces of evidence, it may explain why Cairo's Tim glitches throughout his videos. It is their technology failing and revealing sensitive but important details about what is truly going on behind the scenes. They have still not fully mastered their use of such materials on Earth, resulting in unstable and unexplainable videos. Mysterious liquids clearly not for consumption, human genetic mutations, and the ability to lose all consciousness and control over themselves. This explains why it's called Starr Park. It's because it is literally run by dwellers of space and the stars. This is where the aliens come into play. They are trying to inhabit the planet Earth by luring humans into a fake conspiracy known as Starr Park, so that they can turn humanity against each other. It's worth noting that some of the people in the investor video are real humans, for the moment, and some are aliens undercover, shape-shifting to hopefully be taken in by society, allowing them to continue their evil schemes from the inside. The park is a metaphor. Its meaning is related to the idea of an area being devoted to a specific purpose, that being to capture and control the human race. Now, I know that was a lot to take in, so take it all with a grain of salt, but really think about it. Why would a group of individuals build a park to lure guests, mess with time, and then look into the future? What would that get them? They would need a real purpose and goal to commit such dangerous actions. Human control over a certain group of people has occurred before and has almost always failed, but what hasn't happened before and therefore hasn't had the chance to fail? An alien invasion and the experimentation of human DNA and genetic mutation. That is what I believe Starr Park really is and who is really running it behind the scenes. Throughout the investor video, they refer to Starr Park as the place you never want to leave. However, I don't think it's a place you can stay at. I think it's all just one big illusion, a trap and a warning. It seems that there are only a few individuals that are real people for the time being, and the rest are just humans turned artificial or shape-shifting aliens due to the dire genetic experiments taking place. The reason that some of the people at Starr Park are still human is because they are only conducting the experiments on a select amount of people to make sure that it works before administering it to everyone. The real question we need to be asking is, how can we stop these extraterrestrial destroyers from experimenting with human DNA and annihilating the human race? We must take a stand and continue to expose the truth. Starr Park is not dead, it's just beginning. We have only uncovered a few of the many secrets that lie within the Brawl Stars lore. They won't stop what they're doing unless we unite and take a stand against them. I mean, just look at this. They are monitoring everything and everyone at all times. You may be wondering, who exactly is watching us? Well, that's for you to find out, and probably me in my next Brawl Theory. That brings us to the end of this Brawl Theory video. If you enjoyed this and want to stay up to date on all the Brawl Stars news and lore, make sure you leave a like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on future videos. If you haven't already, make sure to check out this Brawl Theory video regarding the truth behind Gus and what he represents. You definitely want to check that one out, I promise. Even Kairos and Ray watched that, which to me is still mind-blowing. Thanks as always for the continued support, it is greatly appreciated. It's because of you guys that this channel is succeeding, so thank you. Have a great rest of your day. I will see you guys next time.